Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our FETSA meetup online live stream. Joined today by Skulk and Shailen. I'm Justin. I'm sure you know who Skulk and I are, so we don't need to do any introductions. Just a couple of quick things about us. If this is your first time, we are FETSA, Front-End Engineering Design South Africa. We've recently rebranded. We've got a whole new organization set up. And we have moved all our discussions and everything to a new Discord, and I'll share the link in the chat for everyone. If you want to get involved or just get some good conversation going, please join our Discord, where we have discussion channels for all things front end, all things design, and we also post our events there and all of that. Just a quick thanks to our sponsors, NML and IO, both software development companies in Cape Town. And then we've also started a new bi-monthly event called CSS Breakpoint, which is being headed up by Skulk. I'm joining him for every second one. And that's also a live stream that we just get together over lunchtime, get on StreamYard and talk about new and interesting things that are happening in CSS. Yeah, just a bit of housekeeping for today. If you have any comments, please post them in the YouTube live chat. They do come through to the StreamYard studio for us, and we'll just add them when we go through the questions at the end. Yeah, so please feel free to ask whatever you like and just type it up into the chat. Okay, I'll hand over to Skulk to introduce Shailen.
Sorry, I'm just all over the place. I'm sharing the links in all the places and stuff. And yeah, hey, sure, it's been a day. And also my daughter just came into my office. Hello. Okay, she wants to watch TV. Huh? Okay.
Can I get the ball when
yeah. Say bye for the mense. Bye. Yeah, okay. All right, there we go. So, okay, basically, yeah, okay, where was I need to do intros for Shailen. Yes, man, like, okay. So I first met Shailen way back when I was running CodeBridge, way in the prehistoric era that was like before COVID. And yeah, like I think at the time you were kind of involved in a lot of stuff. You were really kind of like kind of doing a lot of Vue.js work, and I think since then you've kind of delved into a lot of other things, specifically DevOps and more things on the engineering side and so forth. So Shailen was also like very involved in the very early days of FETSA. Kind of when we just started out and so forth. Yeah, so Justin and I know him quite well. And yeah, and I've been harassing him to do a talk on something for a while now. And he finally caved. And so what he said is what he's going to be talking about is programmable banking, which I'm actually super keen to hear about myself just. So yeah, Shailen, I am happy to hand over to you. You can do a bit more in terms of who you are and what you're going to be talking about.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Yes, and so just then also super quickly, as Justin said, any questions in the text chat, we'll pop them up on the screen, and I'll just stop Shailen and he can answer them.
Cool.
But yeah,
that sounds great. Thanks for the intro, Justin and Skulk. It's been a while since I've been affiliated with FETSA in this capacity, considering that we were ultimately the original founding members, but then COVID happened and then sort of things teetered off in different directions and all that kind of stuff. But yes, my name is Shailen. I've been in the engineering or software space for probably about 7 or 8 years now. I actually made the transition from audio engineering as I wanted to be a professional musician, that kind of thing. I've dabbled in a lot of open source, as Skulk knows, back from our CodeBridge days and stuff like that, a lot of civic tech projects and that kind of thing. But I think my biggest magnum opus in the open source space is the Netlify extension that I built for VS Code about 5 years ago that has probably 20,000 installs at this stage. And there's always somebody asking me for a feature on that thing. But yeah, I've dabbled in all sorts of things, fintech, logistics. I just like a lot of things, So yeah, today the talk is about programmable banking, and I feel that it's a little bit of a off-topic kind of conversation for this for FEDSA, but I think it's maybe a good direction to open up or broaden the space of what FEDSA covers. So it might be a good can opener, I guess, for the community, I guess. But yeah, let me get to my slides. I don't know if you can see my slides. Can you just confirm?
Yes, I think Justin and I clicked the button at the exact same time. And
Cool.
he added it and I removed it. But
Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. So it's visible. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is my talk on programmable banking by Shailen. I just like Master Uguay from Kung Fu Panda, so I just decided to use it as a mascot for now. Yeah, so let me get on with it. Outline. So what is programmable banking? What is it about? So the second point is my programmable banking journey over the last 7 years. My move to Investec, which is a big part of the programmable banking aspect that I'll be touching on throughout the talk. Yeah, so what is programmable banking? Programmatic control over your financial services to gain insights, create automations, develop smart contracts, and so much more. My programmable banking journey over the last 7 years, my first introduction to programmable banking happened when I discovered 22/7 in 2017. So 22/7, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are familiar with it at this stage. It's been around for a while. I actually only found out today that they rebranded to
I wanted to say just right now, yeah, like they actually changed their name like last week, I think.
Yeah, Vault 22. But I only found out today because I haven't actually updated the slides since I did this talk initially before. But yeah, 22/7 is now Vault 22. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's all right. Yeah, and then after that, then Root Wealth in 2018, where at that time they were developing programmable bank cards, but now they've pivoted to insurance. So 2017 and 2018 was quite foundational years for me, because that whole space is the space that led me to sort of find CodeBridge, open up Skulk and Justin, and that's sort of what kickstarted a lot of my journey in the software space and open source and civic tech and that kind of things. So actually, if it wasn't for this Root Wealth meetup, I would have not actually gotten into the meetup sort of scene and actually ended up finding Open Up and then Skulk and Justin and all of those things. So yeah. 2021 to 2024, I built a custom financial planner on top of 22/7's unofficial APIs, or Vault 22. So a lot of my financial, I guess as you get older and you take on more financial responsibilities and such things, and you have debts and financial obligations, you obviously start to want to track your finances, the in and outs, where's money going, where's money coming in, and how to maximize certain things and how to allocate things accordingly. So in 2021 to 2024, I built a custom financial plan on top of 22/7's unofficial APIs, which I'll get into a bit more detail later on. And then August 2024, I started the process of moving my financial tools, or my financial suite, over to Investec's programmable banking. You can let me know if there's any questions. I don't mind answering during the session as well.
And nothing from audience yet. I have a ton, but yeah, let's keep moving. Otherwise, we're not gonna get past the slide.
Not a problem at all. So 22/7, before I get to the meat of the things, I first need to get through to 22/7 or Vault 22. So 22/7 is a financial services tool that provides insights into your transactions and spending habits across several sources, essentially acting as a financial services aggregator. So, in summary, or in short, so 22/7 is a SaaS solution or software as a service that integrates or has integrated with many other FSPs, financial service providers like F&B, ABSA, Investec, Nedbank, PayPal, Luno, whatever, 10x, you can name it, Woolworths, Clicks, Discam. There's an entire suite of accounts that you can integrate your 22/7 account with. And basically, it aggregates all of this information into a unified system or data model, you could say, and presents it in a platform. So this is the old platform, but I'm just going to refer to 22/7 as 22/7 for now, even though they changed their branding. Yeah, so there's a platform with accounts, dashboards, overview, transactions, X, Y, and Z. So it aggregates all of this information into this platform. So your easy equities doesn't matter. So if any changes happens in your other accounts like F&B, that kind of thing, it'll track what's going on there and try to give you an estimate of your net worth and X, Y, and Z and things like that. So 22/7 has an unofficial API. So by this, you can use the APIs by calling the 22/7 web application APIs. They're not course protected, cross-origin resource sharing protected, but the session token does expire after 2 to 4 months. So I don't know if this has changed because I only found out literally about half an hour, 45 minutes ago that they've rebranded to Vault 22. So this might not be the case anymore, but I can actually validate that shortly. We can actually check it out. Yeah, so this is what you can do. You can actually copy a network request from the website. Just open the developer console, go to the network tab, and then just copy an endpoint, and then you just paste in the headers, and then you just get the session token. That over there, the X session token. I use this hack to power my financial planner for the last 3 years without an issue. Yeah, I'll get into that a bit more in detail. Let me just see if this works still. So I'm on my 22/7 or Vault 22.
So I just want to quickly check. So when you say unofficial, you mean like it's not meant for third-party tooling, but you effectively just looked at the API calls it does inside the app. So I assume the front end's decoupled from the back end. And
Yes. It's not meant for it, but I did contact the backend engineer. I can't remember his name. I have an email from him where I raised the issue. I was just curious, like, why is this open and X, Y, and Z? Because it is quite sensitive information. And he said, look, they actually left it open on purpose to allow developers to make use of it, because they knew internally that people are going to sniff the network logs and try to do something funny. So I actually got it in email that they've officially left it open for that reason, so that developers can make use of it.
Yeah, I've definitely worked on projects where we were thinking about like maybe opening up our API at a later point, possibly, and documenting it and whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's probably the same case as they probably considered like kind of having proper documentation and everything for it at some point, and they just never got to it. Yeah.
It's probably on their backlog, but probably on the last of the last things. It's not
Yeah.
the stakeholders are probably pushing it down constantly. Yeah, you can see that they're actually logging some debugging statements for their new UI. But let me just go to the network. Let me refresh. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, everything is quite open. Like even on this page, they're requesting stuff that's not necessarily, but unless it's like hydrating somewhere or whatnot, like account balances, aggregate. Let's just see what the preview is. Yeah, this year. So all the APIs basically respond like the entire data model or something like that. So you can just copy. Let me just see this. You can just copy. What's going on here? Let's see.
So I would
copy.
also assume it's quite a thick like client layer. Like it probably just sucks everything in, and then like you kind of do a lot of the manipulation of the data kind of in the client state.
Yes, definitely.
Mm.
When I first did my dive into 22.7's APIs, I went through the interface and all that kind of things, and I identified like how they're using it, how they're consuming it, what's the libraries, and what's messy stuff, and yeah. But if I copy the curl request and I just hit it there, it should just dump everything. Yeah. I could do let's see if I can do this. Can I pipe this into JSON PP? I think this will work or not.
Do you know what the tech stack is that they're using?
Yeah, there you go. I do not know, actually. I think it's React. They're on Office, if I'm not mistaken. It might be React.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
this is like all my transactions. Everything is here. So the entire endpoint just returns all your transactions, like every single transaction you've ever made. In one call, it's constantly fetching everything.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
that's interesting. Okay.
This is not they're not doing like pagination or anything of that, if I recall correctly.
That's
I can
very
go to
interesting.
preview.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's probably
Yeah.
quite
Okay. All the transactions I've ever made.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is yeah, there's more.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Huh. Sure.
So
Okay.
yeah, every single thing that's driving the interface is here in this. So yeah, that's how I've been powering my personal financial. Let's see what's in here. I'm probably going to expose myself in some capacity, but okay, Uber
Where
Eats.
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats.
Like it's gonna be what's the time? It's like 2 in the morning or something.
Yeah, I can't even tell. What is this timestamp?
So
The amount, yeah, transaction date.
so I'd be curious, does this work offline? I would assume so. Like if you have all the data available, like there's probably no reason to even like not have it work offline.
Let's just
Let me
test it
see.
offline. Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Unless I assume they have an app as well, right?
Yes, they do.
So the app probably works offline. So like, but they're just using the same API. So obviously that's probably why it dumps everything, because you just get everything and then you don't need a connection or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, so I basically just showed everyone that 22.7's APIs are completely open. So yeah, I actually just exposed my session token, but it's all right.
Just refresh it.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you just get your session token, put that in an environment variable, and you just do a cron job. You can build like a caching layer on top of it, so you can have like a cron job running on like a Lambda, and then you just do like an API call maybe once every 4 hours. That's what I did in my system, and then just does it every 4 hours. So it'll also do a refresh. So with 22.7, sorry, I haven't updated this thing in a long time, so a lot of the things are probably like outdated. But I hope I don't expose myself here. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So basically, there's a refresh button that calls an API to refresh the system. So it'll go and log into your accounts and things like that, and then refresh the account data, like, because it's not real time. That's a pain point that I'll get into a bit later in the talk. But it's not real time, so you have to wait for transactions to resolve on your bank side, and then only it gets logged and stuff like that. So it's a bit messy, but that's what I did. I had a cron job that would call the refresh endpoint. It's literally called refresh. That would run every 4 hours to update the system. And then after that, it would pipe the information from, it'll do another API call to get all the information, then pipe that to like a spreadsheet, which I'll get into a little bit. But let me continue. I don't want to get stuck on 22.7 for too long. Any questions?
No, as Justin showed, someone just remarked that API. It's a lot in that API.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But I guess that works to your benefit if you want to use it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you could cache it. Yeah, you could cache it, but you'll still make the same call anyway. So, yeah, building like a cache thing on top of that is not that much benefit though. But anyway, my Google Sheets financial planner, which I consider legacy. I use 22.7's APIs to power my Google Sheets financial planner. This is what it was. Yeah, so it did like just about everything: accounts, recurring expenses, one-time expenses, salary allocation, savings and investments, savings projections, budget, current / verse, previous, that kind of thing. So it was doing a lot for me, but let me just go a bit further. So pros and cons. So pros, nice to manage data in a spreadsheet. I think for the general individual, spreadsheets are very nice to use as a data manipulation tool, and that's exactly why I used it in the first place. Data can be piped to the spreadsheet, and you can see all the references update. This is probably my favorite thing about using Google Spreadsheets is that. So like I said, there was a cron running every 4 hours. I would fetch the data, or first do a refresh, get the new data, and then pipe that to Google Sheets. So it would pipe whatever I wanted to pipe to it. So then all the references that are based off of that information, like account information, aggregated expenditure on different categories, like maybe garden, home, eating out, takeaways, transport and fuel. That will all get piped to the spreadsheet, and then you can have nice references across multiple sheets that are based off of that value. So it's computed. And that's what was nice about it, is that literally if you wanted to, just for the fun of it, if you know that the cron job is going to run, let's say at 8 o'clock, you can go sit there in front of your spreadsheet and then like rub your hands and then wait for the spreadsheet to update after the cron job has completed, and pipe the information. I'll just see all the stuff in a procedural style, just update like this. And that was quite nice. It was quite what's the word? Satisfactory. It was like a satisfaction just seeing that update, and all your references just update across the entire spreadsheet. Yeah, and Google Sheets is always accessible via web and mobile apps. So if you wanted to go see your data or your budgets and X, Y, and Z in not real time, I'll explain that now. But if you just wanted to access it and see it in a viewable kind of formatting, you could just do that with Google Sheets, because it's both for web and mobile. Cons tends to be clunky to work with, especially if you want to perform some really custom logical relationships. People who are experts in Google Sheets and spreadsheets might disagree with me, but I found it to be very clunky, and it lacked history. So the issue with that is that the data would be piped, and then if you have a budget period, let's say 25 November to 24 December, you'd have to clone your spreadsheet and then save that somewhere for that snapshot of data, and then the new budget period will kick in, maybe reset the values, and then it'll start to update again. So you have to there's a lot of like manual work, and the history of it it's just lost quite quickly, so cannot perform complex queries to gather deeper insights into the data, especially if there are multiple sources. This is where having the data in the database is more helpful. So if you, it's when you have the raw data from the API coming in, it's and having that in like a CSV or stuff like that, you could perform some complex queries and things like that. But you'd have to write it in a script or something of that nature. But if you wanted to do a little bit more intensive like querying stuff, you could pipe it into like a SQL database or Mongo and do like some really interesting data aggregations. And Mongo has some really, really cool stuff, which I'll get into a little bit as well for the pipelines and aggregation pipelines. And this is the big one. The 20 shows process transactions. So it's not as real time as it would like to be. So that means that my biggest issue with 22.7 is that the transactions, let's say you go to Woolworths and you buy a bag of bananas or something, right? You make that transaction. So depending on who Woolworths bank is and whatnot, let's say that they're with, I don't know if they're with FNB or Standard Bank or whomever, but if you go make a transaction and you with FNB, they with Standard Bank, the transaction obviously goes through, but there's a processing time for that transaction to be successful, because your bank needs to do the allocation X, Y, and Z, submit that to the another bank and do like a underlying EFT in a sense, or something of that nature for that to work. I don't know about the underlying financial implementations for how to do interbank transactions on that level, but something happens. So there's a pending nature of it. So the transaction is in a pending state on your account. So if you go look at your statements, transaction at Woolworths pending for bag of bananas, and then let's say it takes 3 days for that transaction to actually resolve or succeed. And then only, in my case, 22.7 only pick it up 3 days later. And this became such a nightmare to manage, because you can imagine if you went out and bought, I don't know, a TV at game, for example, or you needed to pick up an extra pair of batteries for your remotes at home or something, and you make that transaction on the last day of your budget period. And that transaction only resolves 3 or 4 days later or 2 days later into your next budget period. So it skews your data quite often. So you would have to do like mangling of data and pulling things here back and forth. And in my case, it was just a nightmare to manage. I know that some people say that they experience pending transactions, like 22.7 still picks it up as a pending transaction with a pending label. But in my case, it would never do that. Only on some odd occasions regarding like internal F&B stuff, like maybe a home loan or credit card payment or X, Y, and Z. It was just not that great of experience if you want to have data that is reflective of your payment reality, if that makes sense. So you want to have data that is up to date. As soon as I make a transaction, I want that data in my database or accessible, not like 4 or 5 days later or X, Y, and Z. That's just some of the cons. So my move to Investec. Why? Disclaimer: I'm not affiliated or being paid by Investec to say anything positive about Investec.
But you're not against it. Like
I'm not
you're open.
against it.
You're open. If anyone from Investec is listening, you're open to the possibility.
Yeah, I mean, when I did the talk internally at my company in September, Investec did send me some T-shirts, developer T-shirts, and all that kind of nice things. But I'm still not affiliated with Investec, as in I'm being paid for this in any capacity. I just want to put that out there. What I'm saying is completely of my opinion and X, Y, and Z. So my move to Investec. Why? So firstly, my previous bank is FNB. FNB was no longer meeting my expectations. I was just getting fed up with the banking experience. There was always blockers or hurdles to achieving certain things that I wanted to achieve, especially getting deeper into like financial, like building financial security and learning more about finances, like unit trusts, EFTs, investments, home loans, mortgage protection, X, Y, and Z. So there was always a barrier when it came to F&B, in my opinion. I wanted a more personal and private banking experience, which is what Investec offers. So Investec is a private bank; they're not a commercial bank like FNB and Standard Bank and ABSA. They cater towards a more private sector. So that does come with a lot of benefits. I can get into detail about some of the benefits, but it's not a part of the topic of this talk. You can ask me a bit later if you want to about some of the benefits that I've experienced so far. I was getting annoyed by 22/7 processing my transactions days or even a week later sometimes. So that threw off my entire financial planning. It kind of feels like you're always stuck in the past. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I was working with that system that I built for 3 years, but I felt like I was always stuck in a constant state of being in the past. Like I have to wait and twiddle my thumbs in order to wait for a transaction to go off, and sometimes it goes off in the next budget period, which is not great. And yeah, Investec offers a really robust set of programmable banking hooks and APIs, which solves a majority of 22/7's caveats. Let's take a look at Investec's programmable banking suite. Is there any questions at this stage? I don't know if anyone has any questions.
No, not from my side. I'm
No.
just keen to see what this entails. I'm so
Okay.
curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No worries. We'll get into that now. Cool. So the Investec Programmable Banking Suite, it consists of programmable bank cards. So this is something really cool. It feels like we've, as developers, it feels like we finally reached that place of once you get a programmable bank card, it just feels like we've reached it in some sense. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a whole different realm or world. So programmable bank cards give you access to sort of a webhook, but not a webhook. I'll get into a bit detail of that a bit later. So before transaction hook, a after transaction hook, and a after decline hook. So those are the three available hooks that you can tie into when using a programmable bank card. A full suite of APIs that give you programmatic access to just about everything that you can do via the Investec app or web app. So what this means is that almost everything that you can do from the Investec mobile app or web app or whatnot, you can do with the APIs, specifically regarding financial stuff, not rewards and X, Y, and Z, or applying for another account, but specifically for your account. So adding a beneficiary, updating a beneficiary, editing, deleting a beneficiary, making a payment, transferring between accounts, querying your account balance, the last couple of transactions you made over the last period, XY period, that kind of thing. So when it comes to that, so payments, inter-account transfers, account information, etc., which I just mentioned. So how do the programmable bank cards work? I don't know if I should show my bank card. It might open up some security flaws on my side, but just imagine like a bank card. Take your bank card out of your hand.
I've a very old Cape Union Mart gift card here, so we can just imagine this is a programmable bank card.
Yeah, just imagine, just take that out of, just take your bank a card out of your wallet and just hold it in your hand and just close your eyes and just imagine that there's an Investec zebra, which is the mascot, and just think about it as being a programmable bank card. Simple. So your bank card in your hand right now is a programmable bank card if you think about it, right? The only difference is that it's up to your FSP to support all of the things that I'm about to share with you now. So imagine you have your programmable bank card in your hand. You go down to, I don't know, to buy Gatsby or something at your local fishery or your fish market or something. Maybe a Gatsby is a bit too unhealthy for this session, but maybe like a pineapple or watermelon at your fruit and veg or food lovers or something, and you go there and you go to the tiller, and the tiller rings it up, and then now it's time to pay. Right, so you just tap it on the pay point, because all cards are NFC at this stage, or bank cards. And yeah, so you make a payment using your Investec bank card or virtual card. So the programmable features work for your physical card and your virtual card. So that's what makes it, that's actually quite nice. So you can have multiple bank cards, you can have one physical card, and you can have multiple virtual cards, and you can have programmable hooks for each one of them, distinct hooks for them. Okay, so you make a transaction, you pay for the watermelon, and then what happens is Investec will pick this up on their side, and the before transaction hook is called, right? This is what it looks like. This is literally what it looks like. I'll show you the details of the IDE and stuff like that in Investec in a little bit. But this is literally the hook. So it's a before transaction hook with a transaction argument. And yeah, you can do just about whatever you want to do. So do something like call an API or whatever, and it's asynchronous. So you can call an API for whatever it may be. It can be an API about like the weather, an API about I don't know, movies, or IMDb, or just about any API call. And then the hook needs to return a value of a type of Boolean, so either true or false. So now this is where we get to the interesting stuff about the logic, all the logic gates behind the before transaction hook, or what makes this programmable, I guess. So you can do some really cool stuff once you start calling external APIs to conditionally make payments. So if the Boolean is true, then the transaction moves onto the after transaction hook, which is this one. So it's also an asynchronous hook, and you can do just about whatever you want to do. So this means that the transaction goes through. You allow the transaction to go through. So what that means is, okay, let me continue with this, and I'll explain.
So just to check, if it returns false, then it aborts it.
Yes. Then the transaction.
Interesting. So you can just do like a math.random or whatever and say like there's a 50% chance of it going through or not.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's wild.
Yeah, no, exactly. So if true, call the after transaction hook. And if this returns true, you basically you're telling Investec, cool, I want this transaction to go through, and they'll process it. But if it's false, they will decline the transaction. So if it's false at the pay, and if you always set the before transaction hook to return a value of false, it'll always decline, and then the decline transaction will always be called. So what that means in a physical world is that if you go and pay now and it's false, it'll literally say on the POS or on the payment machine, transaction declined or aborted, and then Investec might throw a code or a return code to the POS and say 500 whatever, which means something to Investec or the banking industry in some capacity. So it could just be like a user-defined reject. I don't know what that actually means, but it could. I should look deeper into that. So yeah, it's a true programmable system in that you can programmatically determine whether you want to allow a transaction to go through or not. Right. So this three functions gives you so much power or control over how you perform payments and X, Y, and Z. So I've done some really cool things with this so far, which I'll get into as we go along. So that's programmable bank cards in a nutshell. This is the gist of it, right? So before I demo, I think it might be a good idea if I just show you what does the interface look like for the programmable bank cards. That way you can get a sense of what's going on. Before me to do that, I need to sign into my Investec account. Is it fine if I just drop the screen sharing?
Dude, I already did. Don't worry.
But just for safety, I'm just going to stop.
Yeah. No, it's no longer showing your screen. Don't worry.
No, I trust you, but just for safety.
Damn it! Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to sign in quickly. They have quite a strict authentication process, which is quite cool.
This is so my immediate thought is like, so I have, where is it now? I have a ton of like just Raspberry Pis and stuff lying around here that I need to figure something out to do with. So here's a Pi code that's just like lying around that needs to find a purpose. So my immediate thing is like I need to figure something out in terms of can I build some type of device or something that I don't know, with lights or something, or it plays a jingle or something.
We should meet up, Skulk, because I have a lot of ideas like that. I'm currently building some crazy Raspberry Pi Lego Technic
oh man
stuff.
When I was at Runway Sale, I remember we always wanted to build something where if every time someone purchases something on the site, would also have like some IoT thing or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So maybe while you're doing that, there's a question here, which I think is a really curious one. Are you kind of using any type of AI? Because I do imagine there's some opportunity here to kind of, especially since a lot of the AI tooling also exposes via APIs, that you can maybe like do stuff related to that.
That's a very good question. I dabble in AI APIs and stuff like that in other things, but it's tricky. I chat to the team, the dev team that builds the stuff at Investec quite often about these sort of things, and it's very, very difficult to sort of integrate AI in that capacity. Like there's different faculties of ways you can integrate AI for certain things.
Yes.
Like, for example, maybe like a good case might be to just feed AI your entire data set for the month and just ask it to spit out some kind of insight, right?
Yeah.
That is one way. But if you want to do something like maybe a hyper localization of categorizing transactions, that is very difficult. That is something that they talk a lot about at Investec. Like, for example, their categories for transactions is like it's quite interesting. Their categories are like a part of like a standard financial protocol that's used across like multiple FSPs across the world. So like for example, taxis and limousines is like a standard code that is
interesting.
used across all FSPs or all FSPs that subscribe to the protocol, at least. So if you go and do an Uber or something, it'll be taxi and limousine.
Interesting. I didn't know that's a thing, because like I was always curious how like 22/7 and so forth would kind of be able, and this is even before AI, like before you could do like proper machine learning and stuff, like how 22/7 was able to kind of pretty accurately actually get a sense of what this was for. Okay.
Yeah, no, exactly. 22/7 uses a different standard. 22/7 is actually built off of some UK company's standard model, but Investec uses a different standard. I think it's like imagine like Open API versus like a different REST specification. It's kind of like that kind of
I see.
energy, I guess. So
yeah, it's just interesting to me that they actually categorize transactions. I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah.
Oh no, they do quite well actually. Very well. I'll take you through my setup as we go through it. I just hope Investec hasn't kicked me out by now. Okay, cool. We in.
Okay, can I share again? All right.
Yes, you can share. You're
It's out
welcome
of
to
my
share.
control now. What's going to go on the screen is up to you now.
No, that's all right. I don't know if I answered the AI question thoroughly, but we can always get into it at the end when there is like a
Yeah,
Q&A
we can
session.
come back to it. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So Investec Developer, it's like a part of like manage. Investec Developer, it's like an actual feature. Pardon. Individual connections, ERP connections. There's some really interesting stuff that's going on here. Programmable Banking Card IDE. So individual connections. Yeah, you can create an API key. And I'm not going to share details about this.
Click on that show secret. Do it.
No. But yeah, like creating your API key, alias. Let's just say FedSA, continue, primary account. So yeah, you can create scopes. Let me just say like my 7-day notice account. So you're creating a scope for it, so it only allows access to that. And then what's nice is you can create permissions. So update code, view tax certificate. So this becomes very cool. Like let's say maybe your accountant, maybe there's an accounting firm that has like a dev that's just chilling there or something, and he wants access to your tax certificates through an API. You can actually just create that key for him, and you can just provide it to him, and he can just pull it from there if he needs. I'm just making an example. I don't know if that actually exists, but there's all the scopes that you can create, but I'm just going to go back. That's all I want to show you. Okay, so the Programmable Card IDE. So you might be blown away because this is like this is quite futuristic, I have to say. It's like manage code. Here's my Investec Programmable Bank Card. I can enable it, I can enable it, I can disable it, and I can create
That line break. I know that line break is killing Justin. That enabled.
Oh, yeah.
Justin's dying a bit inside now.
Yeah, Justin will be killing himself here as well. Oh, look at this! Look at this. The inputs are not centered.
Let's ignore those things.
Okay, cool. So if you go to this, it's actually a full-blown VS Code instance.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I thought, so you write your hooks and stuff in here.
Yeah.
Okay. So it probably runs like, what is the there's a name for it? Is it Monaco or something, which is kind of like you can actually run like VS Code. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So everything is just a hook.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. But you can't so you can't deploy GitHub code here or something. You need to manually do it in here, right?
We'll get into that. Write that down. I'll explain that in a bit.
Cool.
So this is the main.js file. You have to have this according to that, and it's just 3 hooks. And basically, I didn't want to do any like processing or any kind of like calculations or logic here. So I rather just proxied it to like my own backend endpoints, so I can do whatever I need to do there. So I never ever touch this. I really ever touch it.
Okay. I see.
So
I
just connected my endpoints, and
I see. You do the fetch, you post it then. Okay, but I mean, like you could, if you really want to, you can just like track your finances through Google Analytics if you want to, through just like Google Analytics events.
You can just log like Google Analytics events.
Yeah, you can just do like data layer type of stuff, and you just hit different events and whatever. This is amazing. I love it.
But there's I guess you could do that, but you probably have to do that through the
no sane person would, but like you could theoretically.
Yeah, so the environment only provides you with like 3.
Okay, so those are built in. Okay, I see.
And then a process.env, which basically just references this. Yeah, so you can add your environment variables.
Okay, yeah, so it's quite sandboxed.
Oh, I just closed the tab. I don't know if can I bring it back? Hope it doesn't. Okay, sorry. I thought you were gonna see my details now. I accidentally closed the tab. Okay, we're back. Okay, cool. Yeah, so environment, references, merchant codes. Yeah, so this is all their codes. So like I was telling you before, Skulk, are you still there?
Yeah, I was just muted.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. I thought maybe I did something off there. What was I going to do? Yeah. So these codes are what I spoke about earlier. These are the standard codes that they use to like categorize stuff. Bakeries,
Bail payments. Yes. Okay.
meal payments. Where's that? Oh,
Bail. I hope there's not a lot of them in your transaction history.
I hope so. Not. I hope so too. Payment to the surety for the bond, not the actual bond paid to the government agency. Bail. Oh, bail. Bakeries, bands, orchestras. Some of these stuff you'll probably never ever see in your transactions. It's just like, yeah, buying camera stand.
Some of them is very strange. Like I don't know why some of them are like their own category. Like why is car washes like its own financial category? That's some of the cigar stores.
Chiropractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Some of
these are
the, yeah, this is great. I love it.
computer programming, network services, computer repair, all sorts of things. Yeah, so country codes also here as well. Yeah, so for me, I just use this as a proxy for my backend. But yeah, you can see that I have it always set to true. But imagine I do like some API call here, and then the response is like a value.
Yeah,
And
I
then
can imagine you can say like something, oh, it shouldn't actually, if you don't trust yourself or whatever, and you're like, okay, it shouldn't allow any, what was it? There was something about like candy or something, some category I saw.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
like if ever the category is like candy and sweets, like it's not allowed to process it. Yeah.
yeah, you can do that. You can say false or like what you could do is before transaction, right? You could do like a call to your backend to perform like a query on your data for your budget period for the current budget period, and you can do like you can do a calculation. Let's say you set your budget for like what's a luxury thing like entertainment, right? Let's say you have
Bail. Yeah, but like that's cool. I get where you're getting at. Like, so you can maybe even say that it sends you like an alert or something when you've kind of passed the 50% like
like a
allocation for
50%
that.
threshold.
Yeah, that's really
Exactly.
cool.
And
Yeah.
let's just say for example you got over the 80%, right? Then it just stops you from making payments. It just blocks you or for some reason. Like that's a feasibility, a possibility. You know. Yeah, so there's a lot of power in just this step alone. It doesn't end there, and then obviously after transaction, this is when it succeeds or gets approved. So as soon as the transaction approves, it'll run this and do whatever it needs to do. So this is the step that I use on my backend to log a transaction to the transaction to my database, and then stores that. Yeah, there's some really neat stuff going on after decline. But yeah, I mean, this is the interface for it. I would not write like logic in this thing at all. And then after you're done, let's say you make a couple of edits, you deploy the code. You just deploy it. You click deploy, and it actually deploys to. It actually it updates your Lambda instance. So if I'm not mistaken, I think Investec spins up like a tailored infrastructure for every Investec client. So it's not on like one system. So it's not running on one like system. It's running on a localized like VPC or something. I remember the Investec developer saying this. I might be wrong. They might be on the session and be like, no, we did not say that. But I believe that it's an isolated infrastructure that your specific programmable banking system is running in. It's not running in a pool of programmable systems, but it's in its own isolated system for better security, something like that. So you can deploy from here directly, and once it's live, that it will run. So let me just go back to cards. Back to cards, and then you always have the option of enabling it or not, or like toggling it. So that's a bit about the Programmable Banking IDE for your card. Let me just continue. Any questions on that?
No, I'm happy for you to, unless you're done.
No. I still got quite a bit to go through.
No, well, let's go, because like we're already an hour in, so yeah,
Okay,
let's
cool.
go.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. What is the next step here? Oh yeah, it's this here. So I set up a demo. What my demo entails is one of the features that I've implemented for myself that I've been using for the last, it's the 19th of November. So close to 3 months. Well, yeah, about 3 months, you can say, or close to 3 months, where I wanted to increase my savings capacity. So what I've done is I've built like a feature or program that automatically takes all my transactions that I make. So when I go, let's say something is 10 Rand, right? Or let's say 100 Rand. In this case, it's easier to think about. Let's say I go to the shop, I pay something that's 100 Rand, and that transaction goes off. It's approved, right? I built a feature into my system that automatically takes 15% of that amount and puts that into my savings account. So that can be allocated to like a 7-day notice account, a 30-day account, a 32-day account, whatever it may be, a general savings account, or you can do whatever you want. Like if you have a beneficiary, like for example, every time you make a payment, 15% of that amount gets sent to, I don't know, your gran in a retirement home or something like that. That's a bad example, but it's just an idea. But yeah, that's one of the examples that I've been using for the last 3 months, and really, really helps. Like, it's such an amazing thing to have implemented, because it just increases your saving capacity, and all the money that's saved can be utilized to paying off like financial responsibilities, like a home loan or car loan, or any kind of like short-term or long-term debt that you've acquired. So here's an example that I'll show you. So let's say I'm using the Uber PWA, and let's say you're making a trip somewhere, right? I've actually just set it as the same location, just as an example. So here's Uber, and here's my messages application from my phone. And let me just refresh. Let me just refresh it just to see if it's still active. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to request an Uber of 48 Rand. So what will happen is, this is what's going to happen, right? The transaction is going to go off. It's going to fire the before transaction hook. That's going to go through. Then once it's through, the after transaction hook will get called. My service that does the 15% calculation and transfer to my savings account will run, and will do that. And then obviously, because it's a bank, they'll notify of every kind of transaction that goes on. So I should receive an SMS, right? So this is what's going to happen. Let me just order this Uber. I hope nobody answers or accepts the ride quickly, but let's see. Request your ride. Let's see what's happening here.
Okay. So my question is, can you, like, it seems like you can always build your own payment gateway on top of this. Yeah. Which would be my first question. Yeah.
Did the transaction go off? I don't know if it's going to pick up. I'm just waiting for it to pick up. Sorry, there. Payment transfer was made. Oh, cool. So we did a transaction of 48 Rand, right? If I recall, 40. Let me see. I think it was 40 Rand. Let me just see what it says on my phone. Yeah, 40 Rand. It actually recalculated once. Payment transfer. Yeah, 40 Rand, 15% of 40 Rand is 6 Rand. There you go. I got this SMS from my backend after the transfer was complete. So when I made the transaction on the app, 6 Rand of that transaction or 6 Rand from the 40% was transferred. So in total, the actual trip, you can say, costed 46 Rand. So it's 40 Rand and then 15% of that plus added. So then it's 46 Rand in total. So all these transactions just end up piling up in like your savings account. And the nice thing about it, so there was some counter arguments beforehand, is that if you have enough data, let's say you do this for, let's say, 6 months, right? And you find out, you know what, actually the data says that I'm saving about 2,000 Rand additional using this method every month consistently. So why not just put 2,000 Rand away? I don't know. There's a psychological thing about it that differs. I don't know why, but you don't feel it. You just don't feel like oh, there's 2,000 Rand that I just put away. It becomes very small and gradual. That if you see your bank balance, it actually affects your spending differently. So yeah, it just changes the way you spend a little bit. But yeah, this is some of the normal things that happen. You'll see like there's all these transactions. That's just transfer transactions. Yeah, so that's a bit about like the demo side of it. Any questions regarding that so far?
No, just not really from my side. Just because, like, I'm just actually impressed with what you're able to do. I didn't realize you have such low level, like atomic pieces of behavior that you can work with. Which is, why I asked. Like, it almost feels like you can like build your own payment gateway on top of this. Like, let's say we can set up an account for FedSA and we just say, like whatever you do, EFT, and just use this as your reference number and whatever. And we can just like pile on lots of programmatic logic on top of that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One of the selling points of the programmable banking stuff is actually aimed towards business. So they have like a business. They have a business documentation for Investec, like business accounts and stuff like that. It's all the same, but there's some variations to it, like tax stuff and whatnot. But yeah, you're right. It's quite granular and it's quite atomic. So you can do like really, really cool stuff. Like as long as you have the endpoint that you can communicate with, like I don't know how to explain. Like for example, let's say you can integrate it with like your Google Home or your Amazon Alexa through like the Google Home SDK. You can ask Google like, "Hey, my Google Home is right here, so I don't want to trigger it," but you can just be like, "Hey Google," triggered.
I heard it. Ping.
Yeah, and then you can ask it like, "Oh, so how many transactions have I made for the month so far, or what is my savings for this month, or how many restaurants have I been to this week, or how many times have I used an Uber, or like all sorts of cool things you can start to pile up on, like the once you have access to that API, the possibilities are actually endless. it's just bounded by your imagination and what you are capable of doing. So like Raspberry Pis and smart home stuff, X, Y, and Z. Yeah, it just becomes so amazing. But I'm open to more questions at the end. Let me just continue. So what does my setup look like? I think that's something that people want to see. So I'm actually using the MongoDB Atlas free tier, and the free tier consists. So MongoDB Atlas is basically serverless MongoDB. I'm not going to get into the details of what MongoDB is and stuff like that, but it's a serverless platform. It's a It's SaaS. I don't know what you would call that, but maybe platform as a service or database as a service, probably a DAS. Yeah, so the free tier consists of 512 megabytes of storage. So if you think about it, like a transaction object is very small. It's like a couple of bytes. So I've already done the calculations. I've done calculations on my transactions and all the transactions that I've made over the last 7 years. And in your lifetime, you'll most likely do between like under 100,000 transactions. And if you take the size of an object, your entire transaction history can basically fit inside a MongoDB Atlas free tier. So you don't have to buy you don't have to pay for like a MongoDB Atlas instance or something. You'll still be within the free tier by when your life ends, I guess. Sounds very dark, but yeah. I'm running my entire backend system on a DigitalOcean droplet, which is costing me like $4. But I have plans to sort of move it onto on-prem, onto like my own server. I can probably use like a mini PC with like just run it on a cron job or something, or like a backend process using like PM2 or something like that. It's a Node.js backend, TypeScript, PM2 process manager, Google Cloud Storage to store my MongoDB backups. I have a Telegram bot to query my data. So let me take you through my setup. Oh, sorry about that. I'll get to that in a bit. So I've got a DigitalOcean droplet here. 2 gig instance. Yeah, I barely use the CPU. It's like 2%. I have like a couple of cron jobs running on this and my backend API running. Memory 30%, disk IO, disk usage. So I just have like a droplet running that's hosting my entire like system for Investec. And then what I also have here is I have an Investec. I have a Google Cloud Storage instance that's hosting or storing all my backups for MongoDB. So what I have going is a cron job that runs every day at midnight, and it just takes a snapshot of all the entire database. So my account transactions and card transactions. So everything is here. Card transactions. Just in case if like my Atlas instance goes down, so I can always refer back to like data and whatnot. And I did an investigation into the cost because I'm using what did I set this as? Overview. Let me see here. Overview. I set the storage class to archive, or it's actually configuration. Oh yeah. Archive or auto class. So depending on when the objects were touched, it'll probably be auto archived, and that reduces the costing of the data. So this will probably be in the free tier for eons. I don't think I'll ever pay for this. If I really did like a budget investigation on it, I got like a Sentry just to monitor.
Errors.
Monitor errors. I don't think I need to go into that. I barely ever have errors, but just on the off chance that there are errors, I do have visibility into my system, and that is valuable for me and for, I think, for anybody that's doing anything of this nature. Investec database. Let me just log into this quickly. Sorry, do you mind if I just I'm just going to stop sharing here because
Sure, go for it.
there's
Yeah.
some details that are quite sensitive here. I'm just going to log in. Okay, cool. So there's some really cool stuff that's going on here. Yeah, so look here. My total.
You should share again,
Oh,
FYI.
okay, sorry. I was getting excited there. Let's check this out. Cool. Cool. Can you see me?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So it's been 3 months, and my data size is only not even a megabyte yet. But I'm doing some other stuff on it, so that's why it's a little bit more. But yeah. So browse collection. Let's just go through this quickly. Retrieving list of databases and collections. Charts. I haven't used this in a while. I prefer to use the client, the online, the local client. So,
Compass.
yeah, Compass. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Investec, card transactions, cool. Let me just do like a sort on the timestamp. Negative one. Apply.
Yeah, this is one of the parts I really like about Mongo. It's like the type of stuff you're doing there right now. Yeah, you can set up some crazy aggregation pipelines.
No, I got some really insane ones going on, like some really cool stuff. So yeah, like you get so this is what a transaction looks like. I've obviously done some custom stuff. This is not exactly what it looks like, but this is the kind of information that comes through. You know, when did I do this transaction? Oh, it's the opposite, no? Oh yeah, that was like a long time ago. Okay. Yeah, so
Seeing you get like your account getting drained in real time.
yeah, so I did an Uber last, and that is what I did yesterday, I believe, or was it today? Oh, it was today for the demo. That's why this is here. Yeah, so I got like custom stuff like this and like this for more granular stuff. You know, like I'll come like there's only so much you can automate, but you have to do some manual intervention here and there for the kind of stuff you want to do, you know. So I've obviously tailored this to like my own kind of thing, and you know, so yeah, this is a transaction. This is what it looks like. Yeah, pay fast, mail and mobile, timestamps. You can do some really cool things with like the data, and like what I often do is like I'll edit this directly, and I'll add like different values, like oh, sorry about that. Yeah, like I'll add like Uber just for more granular insight into what's going on here. This is different to the Compass interface, but anyway, yeah. So you'll see like this transaction went off my account, and this is the saved amount. So this is that 15% I was talking about. I actually save this data in the object itself. It does like an update on the record and that kind of thing. But this is one part of it, right? What is really, really valuable is if you're using MongoDB Atlas is the charts. You actually get
Yes, I didn't even think about that, where it kind of like does a lot of like just out of the box aggregation and kind of viz for you. Yeah,
data viz, you know. So like I haven't touched this in a long time, but I can imagine if you have like a screen always on the screen with like some of your financial stuff, you can have this running in the background. But there's a little bit of work to it. But let's just say like let's just do like July, August. I'm probably going to expose myself badly here. But let's see what happens. Loading chart. So it's going to aggregate this.
Yeah, I think it gives you like histograms and like distribution charts.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's cool. I never thought about that.
Yeah, exactly. So this
Ah.
automatically refreshes every hour if you have it.
Yes, man. We really need to get you a car, huh?
No, exactly. I mean, I don't.
That's still less what you would pay than what you would pay.
That is true.
That's exactly why I don't have a car. I prefer motorbikes.
loving like how much Spur represents there. Like,
Oh, Whisper. Oh,
Spur
70.
significant enough to actually show up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is actually really cool. Like looking at it from this perspective, like I have my merchants, and then I have a merchant category, and you can kind of see how it correlates.
Yeah.
So for July and
cool.
August, I spend more on e-hailing than groceries, which is not true today. And this is sad. For me, this is sad. I might be beating a lot of people. I think some people spend maybe like $3 or $5 grand on just eating out kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Prescription medication, coffee, breakfast, and this I haven't edited in a long time, but it gets a lot detailed. Let's just you can embed this. This is what's really cool. You can do like embeds and enable, unembed. Oh, you have to enable the access for this, but authenticate.
I would imagine, yes.
Yeah, you can do like embeds, force refresh, save as a PNG, view data. Yeah, you can do some really cool stuff. Edit. Let's just check it out so you can see how I put this together. Yeah, so you can do like custom stuff, filters. So you can do like periods, spending groups. Yeah, but this is like some really cool things. So imagine having a dashboard of like many different kinds of graphs for like a specific let's call it a sheet, right? I don't know what you call this collection, but you can have like, let's say 5, 6, or 7, and they're all just running or sitting on your on a always on display or monitor. And then as you go about your day, you can just check what's going on. You know, like, oh, okay, cool. So my Uber's going like this and this and that. Oh, okay, I'm spending quite a lot at this scheme. Okay, well, what's going on there? And you can actually peer into that and get far deeper insights. But how much time is left? Let me open up Compass and I can show you some of the aggregation pipelines that I got going on. Just so you can see that the cool stuff that's going on here beyond the charts. So Investec, my queries. Yeah, so I got a lot of like stuff here going on, like total saved amount, total for merchant name, total for character, for category, total spent in relation to budgeted amount. So there's like a whole bunch of like aggregation. So let's just peer into this one. What's going on here? Total spend. Okay, cool. So here you can see like there's an aggregation. Let me just show you the text. So it's actually a very simple aggregation. It's not like too complicated. So this I have in my backend. This is running. This is all dynamic. So in this changes on the backend side in my cron job that runs. But this is like for an old time period. So you can actually just change it to 10, 11. Might expose myself here in some way, but yeah, my day-to-day expenditure up until now is like 3,000 something, reoccurring, exceptions, you know. So, but just yeah, these are categories that I use to understand what's going on. So day-to-day is like everything that I've budgeted for. If it doesn't fit in my day-to-day budget, it's regarded as an exception, and then recurring is like a home loan or your airtime contract or like your prescription medication or stuff like that. But there's like queries with like far more hectic aggregations. Let me just see if I can find like a really hectic one. Okay, so that's like personal. That's like individual categories. There's like one that's really hectic. Let me just see if I can find it. Ooh, My queries total. Oh yeah, this one. This was just a monster of a of an aggregation. Look at that. Yeah, you see. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff you can do in terms of the aggregation, and not to mention, I also have like a Telegram bot. Let me see if I can pull that up quickly. Telegram. View expenditure for budget period. So this tells me every month what I've spent in terms of like what I've budgeted for. So these are all the budgeted categories that I've created, and that's what I spent for each category. So you can just check it out. Cool. Yeah. So that's just some of the cool stuff that I've been up to. And then code-wise, it's nothing hectic. It's just webhooks. I got an after card transaction, very simple. I wrapped a Investex service. This is created by the community. This one, the Investex API for Node.js, and you can get access to just about everything that exists in the API. Like for example, get accounts. Let me just see if I can do something cool quickly. Equals the weight. So let's just say that this is primary. So each account, primary dot, account name, get transactions, get balance, meta, pay. So that's a pay instruction, realm, transfer.
So that was actually my other question. Is obviously so you can respond, you can listen to. Can you trigger payments
Yes,
programmatically?
definitely.
Oh.
So I have access to my primary account, pay. There you go. You just have you just pass in the.
So I can go like I want to pay myself 10 Rand for every open source commit I do, and I kind of just listen to like my GitHub account or whatever, and have like webhooks there, and then I have like some type of account, and I just give myself like a 10 Rand whenever I do like a commit to an open source project or something. That's insane.
100%,
Wow.
definitely. So
Yeah.
like you said before, Skulk, you asked me, can you push the programmable code to like via GitHub or something? The easy way to do like CI/CD deploys to that, so you can access your cards directly from here as well.
Interesting.
So primary. Oh, I need to await it. Sorry, that's why it's not popping up. Primary dot card. You can do like is programmable. Publish save code. You see, you can update save code. So all the features that we saw, like save code, deploy code, so you can actually pass a string in this and actually have like your hooks in this. So you can do like this, and we'll actually like async before transaction.
Wow, that is wild, but it feels so dangerous.
It is dangerous. And then let's say you save that, and then you have to say primary dot publish, and then publish, because that's how the interface works. Is you first have to save your changes and then publish, deploy.
That is wild.
So you can actually have this, like you can have this be a file that you just read file through the FS. So you can have like a new file.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like just consume it as a blob and just UTF-8 it. Yeah.
For transaction, and you can build your own like wrappers around it. So you can create like an interface for it. An interface, like if you know what the object, the argument for the transaction looks like, you can build like that, and you can just create the properties, and then you can just have it as your argument. Transaction, like transaction. There you go, and then you get all the IntelliSense for it. And then what you can do is you can just read the file hooks and then just publish it. And you can just run that in a CI pipeline, and then just deploy it every time you make a change. And you can have like unit tests. And so my system is quite well, if I'm not mistaken. I've done quite a bit of unit testing. Not unit testing, but I've done integration tests. So every time I make a change and deploy, an integration test runs. Where is that guy now? Services. I got like tests. So I have like my hooks, and that just ensures that everything that I do is well defined and works. So I have an integration test that runs against my backend on my dev environment for this. Yeah. So every time I push, I make sure that nothing changes, because obviously it's quite critical. Imagine doing a transfer to your savings account of like 100,000 Rand or 10,000 Rand, and that's to your like 30-day notice account. You can't get that money back until you submit like a request, and then you're screwed for that month or something. So that's why I did quite a robust testing suite for it. Like all of this is quite well. I got like really cool things going on the side, like budget periods. So this is like a DSL that I've created that I use to manage like my budgeting. So I do like everything I edit in there, and I just publish. Okay, then I publish it, and it'll tell me, okay, cool, this exact budget period already exists. I've not made any changes. And then I can fetch like a budget period for something that's like 6 months down the line, or like something next month, like fetch it, and then it all uses like a custom language, or DSL, if you want to call it that. November, December 2024. If I fetch that, it'll say nothing exists or throws an error. Cool, budget period not found. So I've built like a really large system on top of this. But cool, let me just finish. So the last thing is a little bit of a shameless plug kind of thing. But if you are interested in signing up for Investec, you're more than welcome to use my Investec referral code. That's the link. And that's the QR code I've created just to make it a bit easier. I do get to be transparent with everyone. I do get about, I think, 3,000 Rand or 3,500 Rand worth of rewards points that is transferable to cash. So if you do decide to sign up using my referral code, I do get that. But then obviously if you refer people, you can get that as well. So that is my talk.
That was really great, man. Wow.
Amazing.
I'm very impressed. I didn't expect it to give you such low level controls, which begs the question, like in your opinion, like, do you think not enough people are using it, or well, let me ask you that, because like I might just be like showing my ignorance here, but it almost feels like you're like, why aren't more people using this?
That is true. I'm quite active in this. There's a Slack community, by the way, for Investec community champions. I believe that I might still be a champion, but I was a champion last month or in September. And if you are a champion, they do reward you with like no service account fees, or like reward points, and like swag and stuff like that. So you're more than welcome to chat to the Investec team, or the lead developer relations guy, Nick. Let me just see if I can bring that up quickly. But I'll answer your question now, Skulk. Let me just show you quickly that screen share, and then we can move on from there to the real Q&A. Screen share, Nick. Yeah, so this is the Investec.
Cool.
Slack. Yeah, this is the Investec dev Slack. So
Okay.
this is by Investec. There's the Zebra, and then Nick is one of the people who is the Investec community managers,
Okay.
and all most of the engineers working at Investec on the programmable banking stuff are on here. So you can do like
Okay,
feature
cool.
requests and like
Yeah.
for API properties or return responses and that kind of thing. They'll put in the backlog and you can just ping them about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
why aren't more people using this? I think it's just exposure. Like I think it's geared for developers, and
Mm,
even though we as engineers know a lot of other engineers, it's surprising that not a lot of people are wanting to use it, or not wanting to use it, but I think the programmable banking stuff is a means to a larger end. I think
mm,
that's how I can put it. My whole reason, and it speaks to what I spoke about in terms of my legacy stuff with my financial planner built on 22/7's APIs. I had a drive to want to seek larger financial freedom. So
mm,
I spent a couple of weeks putting together a hack of a financial planner that's automated and provides insights. So
mm,
because I had larger financial goals, how can I create better visibility into that? Hence
mm,
why I spent the last 4 or 5 years doing something of that nature. Um, so not a lot of people, I think, might want to take on like building their own financial tools because it's maintenance, it's a responsibility.
mm,
It's cumbersome to manage. Things go down, things break. So that's
mm,
why you build in a lot of fail safes. Like I've
mm.
spent more time actually building backup systems for my
I
database,
can imagine.
integrating Sentry, ensuring that my unit
Yeah.
test, integration tests are according to my specification.
Mm,
Uh, all those things were like the 80% of the 20, which
mm,
whereas it should be around, So there's a lot of management, and I think people are a little bit scared of doing that.
mm.
And then
Okay.
also they might not have ideas of what they want to do. What
Mm,
can you do with all the stuff? And the
mm,
best thing that people might come up with is like, oh, an automatic savings thing. But it can get deeper than that for businesses. I think there's a lot of value in
mm,
business. So I think if you're seeking larger financial, not security, financial freedom in the
mm,
long term, when you want financial insight and visibility into your spending, programmable banking is probably the way to go. But there's a lot of upfront investment. It took me a month to really iron out my system and build what I need to build to get it to work. Now I don't even worry about it. It just works. Actually, I forgot it even existed. And that's the best part about it is now it just works for me. It never fails, never breaks. I get an error once in a while on Sentry where the issue is on Investec side, not on my side. So I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that answers it. Yeah, I was just curious. And geez, I have so many questions. I unfortunately need to head out. As you guys probably saw in the background here, there's someone who needs to be put to bed. But I think Justin, you can. Are you happy to just run a bit of general Q&A and end it off as
Yeah,
well?
there's
Then?
just one question, so we can go through
Yes.
that, and then
Okay.
we can sign it off. Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Scott.
Also, just like if anyone like has any additional questions, and you want to pop them in the
Yeah,
text
please
chat,
ask now. Just pop them in the
yes,
chat.
yeah,
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 Cool.
I'll stay on for a bit just to find out if
yeah.
anyone has
Yeah, we
questions.
just stay on five more minutes to answer the question, I think. And
Okay,
if there are
cool.
no more,
Cool.
we can hop off. Thanks, Shailen.
Yes, yeah,
Cool, Scott. See you soon.
yes.
Oh, you.
Cool. No,
Yeah.
no. I need to. Cool. Cheers,
Okay,
guys.
cool. No
Thanks,
worries.
Shailen. We'll chat soon.
Okay, see you. So no worries. Bye.
Shailen, question on blockchain technology and can it be used? Should it be used?
I like how you teetered around the edges of that, because can it be used and should it be used? That is
Are two
the
different
should
things. Yeah.
part is a good one, because
Yes.
your question, Sam the man, your question is, can we integrate blockchain technology with your banking system? Yes, definitely. Is there a use case? I have no clue. I can't really think of the value for blockchain in my particular system, because I'm actually currently on a blockchain project. I'm working on a blockchain project, and since I even came across blockchain, I still feel like there's no real problem that's being solved with it. I feel like it's still has so many edge cases and all those things. So I don't think there's a use case that I can think of in my particular case, but I don't see any value in using blockchain in my personal capacity or in a private system. There might be a lot of value in using blockchain in a public system, or where there's multiple different entities, but in a personal capacity, I can't really see anything, any kind of value, or maybe I'm missing it. Maybe Sam, maybe you have a value proposition for blockchain in my specific case that I'm unable to see. Um, yeah, but I can't really think of anything that I would want to use blockchain for in my specific system at
Yeah,
this stage.
I tend to agree. Yeah, what you have is more than sufficient, and blockchain introduces other.
Yeah, yeah, like for example, the MongoDB backups. For
Yeah.
example, in terms of
Mm.
having a backup system of that nature, I still have a record that I can always go and
Yeah.
refer to in terms of data integrity, and I make a snapshot every day.
Yeah.
So there is a level of integrity and stuff. If you want to be if you want to have a lot more integrity, you can replicate your data across all cloud service providers that exist. If Google goes down and your backups get lost, you have Amazon, you have Azure, you have Oracle, you maybe I don't know if anyone uses Alibaba Cloud, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
there's all those kind of options. Is there any other questions? I don't know if that satisfies
Yeah.
the question.
Yeah. I think so. No, there are no other questions, Shailen. So I think we can leave it there. Just to say thanks to everyone who joined us, and thanks to you for that fantastic presentation. It was really fascinating.
My
I
pleasure.
certainly learned a lot of things I didn't know. Yeah, so everyone just keep your eyes out on the meetup for our next one, and follow the Discord link that's in the chat and join us there if there's
So,
anything you want to discuss around front-end stuff.
and
And
don't forget to use my referral code.
exactly, and don't forget the referral code.
And if you intend on signing up for Investec, I can assist anyone that is interested in doing so. If you want to access the programmable banking stuff.
Great.
Justin, do you need access to my slides for anyone that wants to go over it? Or
that would be great. Shailen, if you could maybe just share it with us tomorrow or in the Discord or something, or LinkedIn or whatever, and then we'll pop it in the YouTube description.
Okay, no, that's awesome. I think that's great. Yeah, thanks for having me on the session. It's been quite insightful.
Great. Thank you.